for himself. Didn't tell anybody. Doesn't sound very loyal to Trump, does he? Let's bring in Mike Davis now, founder and president of the Article 3 Project. He joins us on the phone. Mike, good to have you back with us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
This seems like a pivotal day in this trial. What do you make of it?
Well, I think this Michael Cohen testimony is very much blowing up in this Soros-funded Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg and this Biden senior political appointee Matthew Colangelo's faces. This guy is a convicted serial perjurer. He is a disbarred attorney. He's changed his story several times. He's raising money on TikTok, trashing Trump, and now we understand that he's embezzling from President Trump or stealing from President Trump. This is their star witness, and their case is falling apart. Unfortunately, I don't think that this matters because you have such a rigged process in New York with a corrupt Democrat Manhattan judge, Juan Merchan, who just got reprimanded for donating to Biden, and another anti-Trump cause in 2020, these illegal campaign contributions as a judge. His adult daughter, Lauren Merchan, is raising millions of dollars off of this unprecedented criminal trial over which her father, Judge Juan Merchan, is presiding. That requires his recusal under New York statute. That's not just crazy Mike Davis saying that. A former federal Clinton judge said that on Caitlin Collins' show on CNN on April 5th. And, you know, how did this judge respond? By expanding this illegal and unconstitutional gag order. This judge has too much to lose if he does not railroad President Trump and get a conviction here. His daughter's business is on the line. She's the one of the top fundraisers and political consultants to Biden, Kamala Harris, Adam Schiff, these Democrats. She has a lot of money at stake if he does not deliver for the Democrats. Remember what they did. They have this jury pool that already votes 87% for Joe Biden, and then they further rigged the jury selection process by bouncing potential jurors who follow Trump on social media, like the 3 people in Manhattan who follow Trump on social media, but didn't bounce the potential jurors who follow Biden. So even though this is a totally bogus case, both factually and legally, there's no crime here, I still think they're going to find him guilty.
The deck very stacked against President Trump, as you're so well putting out. But on this point that, you know, if you got Michael Cohen admitting, I mean, how often does this happen? Where you, like, some specious crime has been charged against Donald Trump. Meanwhile, Michael Cohen admitted to an actual crime against Trump today, which, if it was inside the statute of limitations, could be considered grand larceny. He's stealing $60,000 from the guy. And this is, you know, the case the prosecution has been making is that Michael Cohen and Donald Trump were in cahoots, that they were as thick as thieves, that Cohen was doing everything to be loyal to him, to fight for his advantages, when in fact he was screwing Donald Trump. And that's not going to help the prosecution's case at all.
No, I mean, look, that's one of their star witnesses, Michael Cohen. Their other star witness is a bimbo porn star, Stormy Daniels, who's changed her story several times. She testified that she hates Trump, and Michael Cohen's making money trashing Trump on TikTok. Stormy Daniels is making money peddling her porn site on Twitter. It's her pinned tweet on Twitter. I mean, this is insane that this is their case. And but again, I still think that this process is so rigged. They're still going to find Trump guilty.
So let me on the issue of it being rigged, especially the Biden administration involvement. You did, of course, mention the role that Matthew Colangelo is playing in this case, and that's critical, coming from the Justice Department right into this prosecution against Trump and Alvin Bragg's office. But there's another piece here that I hadn't thought of until I heard Andy McCarthy mention it earlier today on Fox. He said that normally that if a local prosecutor decided to prosecute elements of federal law on their own, that the United States Department of Justice would come flying in and say, you can't do that. This is not your jurisdiction to go after federal election law violations. That's the Justice Department's job. But the Justice Department is not doing that here. In fact, the Justice Department is allowing their jurisdiction to be impeded upon. Do you view that as an expression of the rigging that the Biden administration is doing?
Well, yeah, it's even worse than that. Not only does the Biden Justice Department not step in and say you don't have jurisdiction over federal election law, the Biden Justice Department actually deployed their number three official, or who was their number three official, acting number three official, Matthew Colangelo, to resurrect this zombie case that the prior Manhattan DA, Cy Vance, the Manhattan U.S. Attorney, the Federal Election Commission, and Alvin Bragg himself, the Soros-funded Manhattan DA who campaigned on getting Trump. This case was even too wild for Bragg until Colangelo deployed from the Biden Justice Department. And here we are in week 6 of this unprecedented criminal trial against a former and likely future president. And they have not even told the criminal defendants the legal allegations he faces in this trial. He has no idea how to defend himself because they have not explained to him how he has violated the law.
I mentioned at the outset that Robert Costello, is expected to testify here in moments on being called by President Trump's team. How important will his testimony be, do you think, to establishing that Michael Cohen is not to be trusted on anything here?
Well, I think that Costello's testimony is going to be devastating for Michael Cohen and this entire case. If you watch how he testified before the House, it should destroy the case, but unfortunately it won't, because we have such a rigged process in New York with a corrupt judge whose daughter is raising millions off this case, these partisan prosecutors funded by Soros, deployed by the Biden Justice Department, and a rigged jury selection process in a jury pool that's already overwhelmingly against Trump.
In fact, on that point, the jury. So as a technical matter, all you need is one juror not to go along with a conviction, right, to get a hung jury?
Yeah, that's true. But guess what? If there's a hung jury, Trump's already been in this courtroom instead of the campaign trail and illegally and unconstitutionally gagged for 2 months. They probably would love a hung jury with the Biden Justice Department, with President Biden, because then they can just retry him and put him back in that courtroom again for the next 2 months.
Now, and there are also a number of attorneys who are in the jury pool. It's either 2 or 3 of the jurors are actually themselves attorneys. How disruptive is it to have an attorney as a juror? Because I've heard other people claim that what happens is if you have a lawyer who is one of the jurors, sometimes they start to Bigfoot the rest of the jury. They say, well, look, as the lawyer, I know he's guilty because I've heard all of this and I've concluded with my expert legal opinion, the guy's guilty. You need to go with me.
Yeah, and I'm an attorney, and I realize what a pain in the butt attorneys are. They have giant, fragile egos, and they think that they're the smartest people in the room on every matter. So, look, if you are an attorney in Manhattan at a big law firm, you're not a conservative. You're not a Trump supporter. There's no way those big law firms would have hired you.
Yeah. There are 2 corporate lawyers, according to Reuters, on the panel. They live in the upscale Chelsea neighborhood. Yeah, these are not Trump voters. Let's just be honest. It's gonna be wild to see what happens. All right. Well, as always, Mike Davis, thank you very much for your time and for weighing in on this important case. I really hope it resolves well. But you are predicting doom. We'll see what happens.